Bill, so there are so many members within the community for the warning that want to know how it is that they can get involved leading up to the election. And there's a question specifically about running for local office. What do you think are the specific qualifications that people have to consider to become a candidate at the local level?
One of my favorite days in the White House, President Obama, I'm going to ladder back to local, I promise, but we're early on in the administration. I think it's February, early February. We have the first meeting of the bipartisan leadership of the House to the Roosevelt Room for the president to meet with him. So it was like Chuck Schumer, was it Daschle at the time? Mitch McConnell, Eric Cantor, John Boehner, Nancy Pelosi, the whole, everybody. So there's like 20 of us in the room, and I'm in there to like just watch for things that people might want to leak out of the room. And Eric Cantor, who was the Republican whip at the time, so he was second in command in the Republican conference in the House, a congressman from Virginia. He brings a stack of handouts and he starts handing out what was some, tax plan that he had concocted. and the president like takes it. He's like, Eric, elections have consequences, and I won. And it was like this awesome like mic drop moment. Inside, I was like screaming. I immediately leaked it to the press. Anyway, later that week, I went to one of the signing ceremonies that the president had. He was expanding SCHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program, from 8 million kids to 11 million kids. And when you looked around the room, there were a bunch of kids that didn't look a lot different from me and my big brother when we were little, wearing clothes that didn't really fit right because they had short notice to like get an outfit for the White House, and they're poor kids and their parents and healthcare providers and doctors and nurses and insurance companies. And the president expands health insurance for 3 million kids with the stroke of a pen. And in my head, I was like, elections have consequences, and he won. And so when you're considering whether or not to get involved in politics, that's the reason to do it, is because at the local level, at the federal level, state level, like those elections really matter to folks who live in your community. And if you can be the person who is bringing the kind of mindset that's going to be focused on people being successful, on families being safe, on schools being good, on the government working right for the people, like it makes a huge difference to have people who are involved in the process that really care. So I would encourage you to, if you're thinking about running for office, go to the public meetings that office holds to learn more about the issues that they take on and the way that they do it. Read more in the local news about what they're up to, and start to talk to your family and friends and the people in your community about what it would be like if you had new, better leadership.
Okay, last question for both of you, because we are a minute over, though I do want to point out that so many people have enjoyed this conversation and have asked that moving forward they are 90 minutes because there is so much to talk about in so little time. Both of you talked about the fact that you don't think that it will necessarily be a Biden-Trump rematch. So first for you, Bill, if not Trump, what's your best guess on who the Republican nominee will be?
Oof, it's a tough one because that field is really something. God, if I had to guess right now, if not Trump, who? I don't think DeSantis, he doesn't have the gas in the tank to actually be a serious candidate for the whole time. I don't think it could be Vivek. But I think that for all the reasons, I didn't think it could be Trump in 2016. So who knows? I don't know. I could see Nikki Haley making it through. She's got an interesting profile and is like, she presents really impressively. And I could see that as potentially the thing.
And I won't ask you about the other side. Steve, you, if not Trump, then who on the Republican side?
Well, I'm in New Hampshire, so I'm watching all of the ads, and the DeSantis ads are horrid. Like terrible, like almost like really not a word for them. Talking to some of the locals, I think Nikki Haley is going to have energy in the fall. Chris Christie could get some energy up in New Hampshire, but I think the issue with Trump, and we really didn't talk about this, and we should just go on, I guess, extend for a couple minutes. And I want to make this point. I'm gonna say 4 names. Only one of these people is eligible to be president of the United States. Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Donald Trump. Right now, they're ineligible for different reasons. Right, Taylor Swift is ineligible because she's 33. Arnold Schwarzenegger is ineligible because he's not a natural born citizen. Donald Trump is ineligible because under Article 3 of the 14th Amendment, or Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, he engaged in an insurrection. So he's not eligible to run for president of the United States. He's constitutionally disqualified. And this doesn't require an act of Congress. This doesn't require anything other than the is. And so this is going to play out in the courts. He may be locked up. He may deflate like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's one thing we didn't talk about, which is that, and it's kind of, do you or do you not have faith in the American people? And sometimes you get disoriented, at least I do, because there's a borderline where the American people and American institutions start to overlap. If you go clearly and plainly with the faith in the American people space, well, you look at election results in a state like Wisconsin or a state like Michigan, where extremist candidates for Supreme Court, extremist candidates for Secretary of State, all these people were defeated overwhelmingly, right? So the good sense of the people, right, saying, no, we don't want this. Absolutely not. Rejecting this insanity without a lot of drama, without a lot of fanfare. There's a lot of signs to say that that's how this will all play out, but it's tough to know, right? Because there's so many confusing and contradictory signals out there. I think the Democrats on the bench have 2 very strong putative national candidates. I think Gavin Newsom is very strong. I think Gretchen Whitmer is very strong out of the governor ranks. But if you look at the Democratic congressman from Minnesota, Dean Phillips, who I think is good on television, if Dean Phillips came up to a state like New Hampshire and ran for president, saying, hey, I want to lay out a vision for the Democratic Party for a future of the country, would that have resonance in a state like New Hampshire that Biden has promised to skip? It would. Would that person win the New Hampshire primary? They probably would. Would that set the stage for subsequent victories? It could. You just don't know how all of this plays out. But if you look at the polling, right, there's a lot of unsettlement, a lot of uncertainty, and people don't like the choice they're going to get. And the one thing, if you really, I think, have an appreciation for the American character, what the American people, all of us, don't like more than anything else is being told by powerful forces what's going to be. We usually like to make those decisions and have a bad reaction when people try to pull that choice away. So I think it's going to be a very, very volatile 6 or 7 months here. And I wouldn't, if I was, you think about people who put short bets on the economy, or the Big Short with the mortgages back in 2008. if there was a fund where you could invest or bet, and the bet was, could you make a short on the proposition that the race will be Trump and Biden in a rematch, I would take that. I don't think it's going to be. And I'm not surprised that Bill doesn't think it's going to be either.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a video. Also, for more content just like this, please consider joining our Warning Premium community. You can find out more in the description below.